Good morning. My name is Pippa Chapman. I'm a professor in the School of Geography at the University of Leeds, and today I'm going to talk to you about soil health and the delivery of public goods. We know that maintaining and improving soil health is essential for the future sustainability of agriculture and the delivery of environmental public goods, such as managing flood risk and improving water quality. However, despite the numerous studies indicating that intensive agricultural practices have led to a decline in soil organic matter and an increase in compaction and soil erosion, it is not always clear which management practices or land management interventions are most likely to lead to an improvement in soil health and how this links to the delivery of multiple public goods. So in 2018, iCASP undertook a project that reviewed the available evidence on how commonly promoted agri-environment options improve soil health to support the development of future land use policies in Yorkshire and the UK. The project carried out a systematic review of the evidence base in the academic literature concerning the impact of 10 land management activities on 8 soil health indicators. The agricultural activities can be divided into 3 different sets: those related to land use change, linear features in the landscape, such as hedges and buffer strips, and activities related to arable farming. We chose soil indicators that relate to the soil functions of carbon cycling and storage, water movement, storage and availability, and retention and transport of solutes, as these functions link directly to the delivery of climate change mitigation, flood mitigation and improved water quality. As you can see, we found over 8,000 papers, but of these only 240 contained information concerning whether the impact of the agricultural activity led to an improvement, no significant change, or a decline in the soil health indicator. The full report from this study can be found on the iCASP webpage, but a summary of the key results are presented here in the table of land management intervention versus soil health indicator. The effect of the intervention on each soil health indicator was reported as either an increase, a decrease, or no change, and the most frequently recorded effect was considered to represent the overall effect. And I should state that only published papers with experimental control versus treatment were included in the review. What is obvious is that most agricultural practices have a positive impact on soil health indicators, as highlighted by green in the table, while orange representing no change and red representing an overall negative effect on soil health indicators. The number in brackets represents the number of studies that we found, and what you can notice from the numbers is that the available database on soil health is limited. There were over 3 times more studies that reported on the impact of tillage on soil indicators than any other of the interventions, which all had less than 30 studies. There was no suitable soil health impact studies were found for beetle banks. The most commonly reported soil health indicators were for soil organic carbon and bulk density. About half of the studies reported the impact on aggregate stability, and about a third of the studies reported the impact of the intervention on number of earthworms and hydrological properties. Of the interventions that were considered in this study, we found that conservation tillage, addition of organic amendments, and inclusion of grass clover layers in arable rotations all led to an increase in soil carbon, earthworms, infiltration rates, and improvement in soil structure. Therefore, we can say with some confidence that these agricultural practices are likely to lead to the delivery of climate change and flood mitigation. However, there was not enough data on the impacts of linear features on soil health. While this study reviewed the impact of individual interventions on soil health indicators, what is apparent is that there are some key ways in which soil health can be improved, and they include ensuring the soil is not left bare, particularly in the autumn and winter periods, minimising soil disturbance through, for example, minimal tillage or no tillage, increasing soil organic matter by increasing organic amendments or reducing removal of crop residues, increasing green manures, or introducing livestock into arable rotations, avoiding compaction, and this could be related to livestock numbers and vehicles, and particularly going onto the land during wet periods, and reducing pesticide use, which is known to have an impact on the soil biology. And what you can see from the photo is that actually here we introduced grass clover lays into arable rotation, and you can see the soil structure has changed notably. But by doing this, we've basically ensured the soil was not left bare in the autumn. We've minimised soil disturbance because the grass lay has been in place for 3 years. We've increased soil organic matter by ensuring the grass is left there all year round and not removed through hay or silage cutting or by livestock. We've avoided compaction because the land hasn't been, vehicles haven't passed over the land so much, and we've also reduced pesticide use. While the studies that we reviewed generally monitored the soil health indicators within a laboratory environment, there are a number of ways you can assess soil health in the field, and I've listed 4 ways in which you can do this: through the evaluation of soil structure, carrying out a slate test where you look at the ease at which soil aggregates disperse in water, counting the number of earthworms present in a certain volume of soil, and looking at the time it takes for a known volume of water to infiltrate into the soil. The review also highlighted a number of gaps in knowledge, and this includes: what are the optimal species combination to use for enhancing soil health when planting hedges and woodlands or using cover crops and grass lays? There's very little information on this within the literature. There was a lack of data on how soil health indicators and the soil functions respond to changes in land management at soil depths greater than 30 centimetres. This maybe has implications for the delivery of climate change mitigation, because by not looking at how soil organic carbon changes in the whole soil profile, we might be underestimating or overestimating its climate change mitigation. And it's important to note that the majority of agricultural interventions are carried out at the field scale, yet the delivery of public goods are often monitored at a much larger scale, for instance at the catchment or landscape scale. But in conclusion, the report identified which land management activities can lead to an improvement in some key soil health indicators and the delivery of public goods. In this study, we focused on a set of soil health indicators, but it is not exhaustive and has not included biodiversity and soil microbiology, which are complex to interpret but are important. We need to be realistic about timeframes. Many soil health indicators take time to respond to changes in land management, and most of the studies that we looked at only considered short timeframes between 3 and 5 years. There were very few studies that considered studies that were of greater than 20 years in length. The gaps in evidence can provide a focus for current future research, including DEFRA-funded tests and trials, use of transition period funding, and UKRI programmes of research. It is critical, however, that this current future research is done in collaboration with stakeholders to enable immediate use in informing the new environmental land management system, longer-term land use policies, and ensuring the future sustainability of agriculture. Thanks for listening, and I'd also like to acknowledge a wide number of academics across the universities of Sheffield, Leeds and York who helped in the preparation of this report, and the steering group involved in designing the review. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.